I just want to briefly go over, this year has been really an eventful year. If some of you may remember back in last October, when we weren't even in a recession. And this is where we started out. And the last year's budget would have been empty in many respects if the opposition hadn't stood together, hadn't, stood firmly on the issues and demanded that the government, first of all, not deny that we were in recession and take some action on it, which they did. And that, the plus side is that it has brought some money into various ridings. Billions of dollars have been spent, and some haven't been spent yet. But it's been done, in my opinion, without a framework. Without a framework, without a plan of either getting our economy going in a different direction, or creating a more equitable society. And we see that the prosperity gap increasing in Canada. And I was just looking at figures, 400,000 fewer jobs this October than last October at this time. And that means significant heartaches that many families are facing today. So we risk with the deficit that we're facing and the weak recovery, if we are indeed in recovery, it's certainly very fragile, but we risk using this as an excuse to roll back environmental protection, to roll back things like wage equity or wages, as has already occurred. And so today I want to hear from you. Tonight I'd like to hear from you on various issues where you think we should be going. I know that as the post-secondary education critic a couple of years ago, I did have some successes my approach with the government is I work and collaborate with the government where I can, and I criticize them on policies and on approach where I don't feel that they're going in the right direction. It's never about the person, whatever minister it is. And so when I do speak out, in some cases I can achieve certain things, and certainly on post-secondary education, for a very long, we led a long campaign to establish a national student grant, and we succeeded. There is one now. However, it's certainly not what we would need to invest in students, in young Canadians at this time, especially at this time where the young people between 18 and 25 have the highest unemployment rates. So this is the time to invest in post-secondary education. However, we have that, and that was a success. And other things like the community access program that provides internet access to low income in 2007, 2008 was something the government was going to cut, and pressure from our end led to the government at least maintaining it for that time. We also won an increase in student jobs last summer here, and more recently working with Minister Baird on the transport and infrastructure minister to bring money here for the construction of a bridge. And at that time, for me, it was either repair or construction. I don't make those decisions. That's made by local government. But it was important to me that whatever that decision was, that there was support from the federal government. So it doesn't always, this approach doesn't always work. I had worked very hard on the Access Health Center to get to drag the government in. Sometimes it depends on the minister. Some are less amenable to working with the opposition, but that didn't work. We didn't succeed, and I felt bad because that's a group of people that are serving a population that really has few contact points in terms of health, and I regretted that. But generally, I have listened to Victorians over the last year, and I've brought their perspective, their voice to Ottawa, and that's what I'd also like to do tonight. And before I do that, I would like to introduce Dr. Prince. And before I introduce, I see my staff have left me a big note flashing red saying that if you haven't signed in, please do so we can send you a copy of the submission to the minister and their comment sheets, and then you can take away, and if you're not able to or prefer to do it that way tonight. Okay, so I've done that. So Dr. Michael Prince is Lansdowne Professor of Social Policy with the Faculty of Human and Social Development. And he has a doctorate from the University of Exeter. Am I pronouncing it? Exeter. Okay. That's my Spanish coming out.
Very good.
Dr. Prince teaches policy and organizational analysis and public administration and studies in policies and practice. His current research interests include trends in social policy over the past 25 years and the next generations, federal, provincial relations, Aboriginal governance, much writing in that area, policy making and disability politics and policy issues. And on that note, a very recent book, a very compelling book entitled Absent Citizens, Disability Politics and Policies in Canada, and raises the issues of what happened to some 4.5 million Canadians that are ignored in policy making. And he's currently co-principal researcher with the Council of Canadians with Disabilities on a 5-year community university alliance project entitled Disability, Poverty, Enabling Citizenship. But tonight, as I said, this is part of, I'm sure, his community service, because he brings knowledge of both the financial side and the social side, and brings them together in a way that really reflects the decades of experience service with the government at university and out in the community. And he is going to talk about deficits, dialogues, and dreams. Current and projected federal deficits. I know some of you came here tonight and were concerned about that. The necessity for ongoing dialogues between officials, federal officials, representatives, people like me, and Canadians, and the importance of dreams for a better country, especially at times of emergent and uneven economic recovery as we're facing right now. So, Michael, please, I'll turn this over to you.